The Texas Rangers are all in, and they want everybody to know about it. A couple huge trades to talk about here, bringing a future Hall of Famer, but did they actually lose the trade? We're going to talk about that here. So we'll start with the big one. Max Scherzer is moving from the New York Mets to the Texas Rangers for one prospect, Luis Angel Acuna, in which you might recognize that surname there, and yes, he's the younger brother to Ronald Acuna Jr. And we'll talk about him, but first, let's talk about Max. What he is and what he isn't at now age 39, which he turned a couple of days ago. Max has had an up and down year overall. He's been about a league average pitcher. An ERA hovering basically at 4. Strikeouts per 9 a little over 10. But the big kicker, the home runs. 23 given up in just over 100 innings pitched at this time. Now, I do think Scherzer is a good pitcher, and I do think that he's a good get. But I want to talk about something I've been seeing often where people will say, oh yeah, Max has struggled a bit this year, but now that he's going to a contender, and he's going to turn it up a notch. I just don't like biased statements such as that when there's no basis behind it. I mean, Max Scherzer, one of the greatest pitchers of my generation, you're acting like he's not trying right now. He's one of the most competitive men that you'll ever see on a baseball field. But we can look at actual data. And these are some advanced stats from 2023, 2022, and 2021. 21, he started with Washington, went to Los Angeles. He finished third in Cy Young voting. Last year for the Mets, injured partly, but overall a good year. And then this year, about league average. But when you look into the data, it doesn't look too different. Sure, the fastball velo's gone down a little bit, but he was still 37 years old when he got third in Cy Young voting in 2021. The biggest problem I see, they're just hitting him harder. He's leaving some stuff over the plate a bit more. Just general control issues, walking a couple more guys, couple more missed spots, and that's hurt him. So if he can straighten that out a little bit, not saying that he's going to be prime Max Scherzer, but he's going to be a very valuable pitcher to that Rangers staff. They'll talk about what they gave up. Of course, Luis Angel Acuna, a 1-for-1 deal, which is kind of rare. Seeing a multi-accoladed pitcher like Max Scherzer for one prospect. But this isn't just any prospect. Luis Angel Acuna ranks in MLB.com as number 44th prospect in baseball. He's 21 years old. You'll see him primarily splitting time at second base and shortstop. And much like his older brother, he runs. In Double-A this year, 84 games, he's already stolen 42 bases, getting caught just 5 times. Now, he doesn't have as much power as his older brother. He's hit 7 home runs this year, and overall, through 337 games in minor league baseball, he has just 32. But what I like a lot about him is some of the peripherals. He does walk, and he doesn't strike out a huge amount. That's often 2 key things I look at when judging a younger player. Like Adley Rutschman last year showed great prowess of not striking out and also drawing the base on balls. Now, obviously, everybody with those 2 skills doesn't translate that from the minors to the majors 100% of the time, but it's a good showing, absolutely. And this year in Double-A, he's hitting .315 and .830 OPS. He's been looking really good. And it's a great get for the Mets, bringing him into their system. But before we grade that trade, let's talk about the other one that's also pretty big. Jordan Montgomery going from the Cardinals there, having a fire sale. We'll see to what extent there's talks that Arenado probably does not move. I assume the same for Goldschmidt. But Jordan Montgomery is also coming into that Texas Rangers rotation. Monty got traded to St. Louis from the Yankees last year, and he's pitched about a full season's worth, 184 innings. And he's pitched to a 3.3 ERA plus at 126, well above league average. It's pretty simple why. He's a good ground ball pitcher. He doesn't give up too many home runs. He's not going to strike out a ton of batters, but he's also not going to walk a ton. He's pretty good at limiting the base on balls. And that also is a great addition for the Rangers, who are down a couple of starters now. They also picked up Chris Stratton, who for the Cardinals has pitched 53 innings this year. He's been pretty much the epitome of league average. He is a 99 ERA plus. It was definitely a lot better for them last year when they traded for him from Pittsburgh, but overall, it's another arm that you're going to have in the pen. And a pretty decent haul for the Cardinals, too. They picked up Takao Roby, a 21-year-old righty who's shown some plus strikeout stuff in A and AA ball this year. And then Thomas Scherzer. He's also 21 years old. He can play the whole infield, but likely looks like he's most fitting at second or third base. He's got some plus power. Projections see him at a plus 20 home run guy in the future. And MLB.com has already placed him into their ranking pool. Takao at number 4 in the Cardinal system and Scherzer at number 8. And John King. He's 28 years old, left-handed pitcher, major league ready. He's going to fill some innings, nothing too special. Pretty good deal overall from So pretty good deal for them. Overall, my gauge on this is it's definitely a seller's market right now. I think teams are definitely getting some pretty good packages back for some of these MLB quality guys that are going to contenders. So I definitely recommend for teams that don't see a player in their long-term future, don't see them signing back, and are just in a losing scenario this year, it's a pretty good time to sell. But we'll talk about the Rangers mainly because that's who the video is about after all. My biggest takeaway is this. You gave up 3 pretty good prospects in Luis Angel, Takao Roby, and Thomas Scherzer. And you got back 2 very good starters, in my opinion, that are going to make immediate impacts into your rotation. Nate Eovaldi just went down. Jacob deGrom is obviously out for the year. And I think what's very important, the Texas Rangers, a team that has never won a World Series in their history, when you look back at this team, which is currently leading the American League West, they have the 3rd best record in the American League in all. If you come up short, losing the divisional series, you lose in the championship series, and you didn't really make an honest attempt to replace a guy like Jacob deGrom, whom they seemingly gave a blank check to, you're going to have regrets if you don't make an attempt. And I think that's really what separates some of these teams. Some are content at sticking with what they have. If they get there, they get there. If they don't, they don't. Personally, I'm of the opinion, if there's a player like Max Scherzer and Jordan Montgomery, who I also like quite a bit, look at their roster. They signed Corey Seager. They signed Marcus Semien. They have either the winner or runner-up Rookie of the Year in Josh Young, atop of a ton of very young, proven players. I think they're at a good spot to make a kind of risk like this. I absolutely like the trades for Texas right here. We all know hindsight rules all, but given the day, 2 days after, I think this is a great deal for Texas, and I think they might have to be seen as the favorite in the West right now. We'll see.